next subheading is polar plots. It is a plot of absolute values of magnitude. It is a plot of absolute values of magnitude and phase angle in degrees of open loop transfer function g of j omega h of j omega. Open loop transfer function g of j omega h of j omega versus omega drawn on polar coordinates. Now listen here. S-plane, if you want to mark the polar coordinates on an S-plane, all positive angles are taken in anti-clockwise direction and all negative angles are taken in clockwise direction. Magnitudes are calibrated with respect to x-axis. ये negative है, ये positive है, but absolute value will always be positive. This angle will be plus 90, this angle will be plus 180, this angle will be plus 270, plus 360 or 0. This angle will be minus 90, minus 180, minus 270, minus 360 or 0. And when you are calibrating the magnitudes are calibrated with respect to x-axis. For example, suppose we want to mark 5 angle minus 145 degrees on an S-plane, because you will be getting polar coordinate points like this, magnitude angle for different values of omega. The procedure for marking this point on an S-plane, you have to draw this angle, phasor of this angle, whatever is given, because it is negative, you have to draw it in clockwise direction. So this is minus 145 degree angle. Draw a circle whose radius is 5. This is the circle. The circle will be cutting minus 5 and plus 5. Though this side is negative, this side is positive, absolute values are all positive only. Wherever this circle cuts this line, this point is taken as 5 angle of minus 145 degrees. This is the procedure of actually marking the polar coordinate points. But however, accurate polar plot we can never draw. It is not possible. In polar plot, what we require is only shape of the plot. And from that shape of the plot, how to find gain margin and phase. This is important. Another important thing that we have to know is the travel of angle. Suppose you want to travel from plus 180 to minus 180, minus 180 to plus 180, plus 90 to minus 90, like that. Suppose I want to travel from plus 90 to minus 90. From whichever angle you want to travel, first you go to that angle. Suppose I want to travel from plus 90 to plus minus 90. ये 0 है. 0, if I go in this direction anti-clockwise, I am going to plus 90. After going there, take the same path back. Plus 90 to 0, 0 to minus 90. Which means when I start in first quadrant and end in fourth quadrant, we are traveling from plus pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. If you reverse the direction, minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. Suppose I want to travel from 180 to 180, plus 180 to minus 180 or minus 180 to plus 180. First you go to plus 180, a 0, plus 90, plus 180. Now you take the same path back, plus 180 to 0, minus 90, minus 180. You are starting from second quadrant, passing through first, fourth, third, ending in third quadrant. So if you travel in this direction like this, you are starting from plus pi, 0, minus pi by 2 and minus pi. If you reverse this direction, minus pi to plus pi. Suppose I want to travel from 270 to 270. 0 plus 90 plus 180 plus 270. You start from plus 270. Plus 270 to 0, minus 90, minus 180, minus 270. Plus 3 pi by 2 to 0, minus pi by 2, minus pi and minus 3 pi by 2. If you reverse the direction of the spiral, you will be traveling from minus 3 pi by 2 to plus 3 pi by 2. You understand? Suppose I want to travel from plus 90 to plus 270. Plus 90 to plus 270. Starting in which quadrant, ending in which quadrant? Plus 90 to plus 270. 0, plus 90. Second quadrant you are starting. Plus 90 to plus 180. Plus 180 to plus 270. Second to third. अगर वही प्लस 270 to plus 90 है तो पहले प्लस 270 पे आना, then you take the same path back. Third to second. 0 to minus 270 है. 0 to minus 270. Starting and ending where? 0 to minus 270 बोले तो ये 0. Fourth से शुरू. Minus 90, minus 180, ending in second. अगर वही minus 270 to 0 है तो पहले you have to go to minus 270 and then you should take the same path back. ऐसा नहीं आना, समझ में आया? No shortcuts. Is this clear? Now, why an accurate polar plot we can never draw? If you observe, say for example, this is the open loop transfer function given 1 by s plus 1. To draw a polar plot, Nyquist plot or any plot, convert this in time constant form. Always remember, in frequency response it is better to take transfer functions in time constant. Taking angles become easy. So 1 plus s, put s equal to j omega, 1 plus j omega. Find what is the magnitude, 1 by root of 1 plus omega square, and find what is the angle, minus tan inverse of omega. So we are varying omega, observing how the magnitudes and angles are changing. Starting omega 0, ending omega infinity. Put omega 0, the magnitude is 1, angle is 0. Magnitude is 0, angle is minus 90. So if you look at the angles, 0 to minus 90, you have to go from 0 to minus 90. 0 to minus 90 बोले तो which quadrant? 0 to minus 90. You are starting in fourth, ending in fourth only. You understand? And magnitudes, if you observe, are between 1 and 0. Suppose if I want to draw an accurate polar plot, accurately you have to calibrate the x-axis. a 0, a 1, minus 1, 2, minus 2. Accurately you have to calibrate. Magnitudes, if you observe, are between 1 and 0, and angles are between 0 and minus 90. So these are the different angles you will be getting for different values of omega, like this. Starting omega 0, ending omega infinity. और magnitudes जो है ये 1 और 0 के बीच में है. So you will be drawing circles of these different magnitudes, and these circles will be cutting these angle lines. तो अगर accurate calibrate करेंगे तो polar plot सिर्फ यही region में होगा. You understand? So accuracy of the plot is not important in polar. What is important? Shape. So I am taking 1 here. So when omega is 0, this is the circle I have drawn whose magnitude is 1. It is cutting angle here. At the same equidistant point, you have minus 1 also. Now if you observe, the magnitudes are between this 1 and 0. So you will be drawing different circles of different magnitudes. These circles will be cutting these angle lines. Wherever they cut these angle lines, those points you have to mark and join them. Whatever shape you get, that shape we call it as polar plot. So for this problem, this is the shape of the plot we will be getting. This is starting omega 0, ending omega infinity. You understand? So shape of the plot only is important for us, but not the accuracy of the plot. Now this is what type and what ordered system? Type 0. When omega is 0, the angle will always be 0. It starts from 0 degrees. If there is an S term here, it becomes type 1. When omega is 0, starting angle will be minus 90. So type 1 will start from minus 90. Type 2 will start from minus 180. Type 3 will start from minus 270. Type 4 minus 360. Type of the system will determine where the polar plot will start. So we say a type 0 plot starts from here because the angle is 0. A type 1 plot starts here because the angle is minus 90. A type 2 plot starts from here because the angle is minus 180. Type 3 will start here because the angle is minus 270. And this is what order system? First order. First order is ending in 4th quadrant at origin. First order is ending in 4th quadrant at origin, which means second order will end in 3rd quadrant. Third order will end in 2nd quadrant, and 4th order will end in 1st quadrant. 5th order, 6th order, that will continue. So type of the system will determine the starting of the polar plot, and order of the system will determine ending of the polar plot. So with respect to this type and order, there are some general shapes. If you remember these general shapes, it is more than sufficient. General shapes of polar plots. General shapes of polar plots. So we have type and order. And polar plot. So the first one is type 0, order 1. This is the representation of open loop transfer function. Yesterday we have seen this is the general shape of the polar plot, starting omega 0, ending omega infinity. Type 0, order 2, T1s, T2s, starting omega 0, ending omega infinity. Type 0, order 3, T1s, T2s, T3s. Omega infinity. Type 0, order 4, T1s, T3s, and T4s. So these are the general shapes of type 0 and different order combinations. The next one is type 1. With type 1, the order also is 1. The representation is 1 by s. So if you observe, the magnitude is 1 by omega and the angle is minus 90. When omega is 0, the type 1 plot starts from infinite magnitude at an angle of minus 90. But here, in this case, because the angle is not changing, directly this line itself will be the polar plot. It starts at infinite point. When omega is 0, it starts at infinite point. And when omega is infinity, it terminates at origin. Because the angle is not changing, directly this is the polar plot. Omega infinity terminates at origin. But a type 1 plot, when omega is 0, it starts from an infinite point at an angle of minus 90. Sixth one, type 1, order 2. S into 1 plus Ts. This is the general shape. You see, this indicates that the plot is starting at infinite magnitude at an angle of, it's not starting from any finite value. And it terminates at origin when omega is infinity. This is the general shape. Type 1, order 3. T1s, T2s. Starting omega 0, ending omega infinity. Type 1, order 4. T1s, omega 0, tending omega infinity. So these are the general shapes of type 1 plots. Then we have type 2. Ninth one. Type 2, the order also will be 2. And this is the representation. G of S is 1 by, this is 1 by j omega square. The magnitude is 1 by omega square and the angle is minus 180. So if you observe, even a type 2 plot will start at infinite magnitude. And it is starting at what angle? Minus 180. It is starting at minus 180. Because the angle is not changing. This minus 180 degree line itself is the polar plot. So even a type 2 plot also is starting at an infinite magnitude. Then omega is 0. Type 2, order 3. A square into 1 plus ts. Infinity 0. So it starts at infinite magnitude at an angle of minus 180. Type 2, order 4. Plus T1s, 1 plus T2s. Suppose we have any type 3 system. Type 3, the starting order also will be 3. This is 1 by j omega cube. 1 by omega cube is the magnitude. Angle is minus 270. So if you observe, this minus 270 degree line itself is the polar plot, because the magnitudes are changing but the angle is not changing in this case. Type 3, order 4. Plus Ts. This is the general shape of the polar plot. So these are the general shapes of polar plots for different type and order combinations. And if you remember these general shapes, it is more than sufficient to solve problems related to this topic. Does any of these transfer functions have zeros? Huh? Suppose if there is a zero present here, 1 plus TS, what is the type and order? Same. You see, type 0 shapes will be, shapes and all will remain same. Type 0 के ऐसे होंगे, type 1 shapes will be like this, type 2 shapes will be like this, type 3 shapes. Shapes, if you remember, it is more than sufficient. But when zeros are present, angle will change. Zeros are present, angle will, the quadrant in which the plot travels will change. For example, without zero, the plot is starting in second quadrant and third quadrant and ending in second quadrant. This is the general shape we are showing. But because of the zero, the plot may start in the third quadrant and it may end in third quadrant only. Example I am telling you. The shapes तो type 1 के ऐसे रहेंगे, but the quadrants in which the plot travels will change. अगर zeros है तो. Suppose अगर non-minimum phase functions है, जैसा 1 minus T1s है, because of this 1 minus T1s factor, again angle is going to change. But it is type 1 only. Type 1 shapes will be like this, but the quadrants in which the plot travels will differ. These shapes you have to draw there. For example, if because of this non-minimum, because of this pole in right side of S plane, assume, example I am telling. Suppose if the plot is starting in fourth quadrant, ending in first quadrant. Because ये type 1 है, type 1 के shapes तो ऐसे होंगे. You have to draw that shape in this quadrants. You understand? Yes or no? So, if you remember these shapes, it is more than sufficient. ये type 0 shapes, type 1, type 2, type 3. But when zeros are present, or if the function is a non-minimum phase function, then angles will change. When the angles change, the quadrants in which the plot travel will differ. Same shapes in those quadrants you have to draw. Is this clear? Yes or no? Now you take out that question number 17, page number 72. Question number 17, page number 72. You have to match list 1 and list 2. You have different type and order transfer functions and polar plots. What is the answer? C is the answer. You understand? Now let us see what is the effect of adding zeros on the shape of the polar plot. Next subheading. C is the answer for the problem. Next subheading you write down. Effect of adding zeros. Effect of adding zeros on the shape of the polar plot. So write down, for minimum phase or non-minimum phase functions, for minimum phase or non-minimum phase functions, any function, when zeros are present, for minimum phase or non-minimum phase functions, when zeros are present, it is necessary to check. It is necessary to check the intersection of polar plot. It is necessary to check the intersection of polar plot with negative real axis. With negative real axis between omega equal to 0, between omega equal to 0 and omega equal to infinity points. Between omega equal to 0 and omega equal to infinity points. Now what does this mean? You have conventional question number 4. The conventional question number 4 is, what is the effect of adding poles and zeros on the shape of the Nyquist plot? Nyquist plot and polar. Polar ka extension is Nyquist. So that, as an example, I am doing that question here. You look at this transfer function, g of s is equal to 1 by s square into 1 plus s. This is the transfer function. This is what type and what order? Type 2 and order 3. What is the phase angle of this function? Phase angle of s square is minus 180 minus tan inverse of omega. And what is the magnitude of this function? Magnitude of this function is 1 by omega square root of 1 plus omega square. This is the magnitude. So when omega is 0, the magnitude is infinite and the angle is minus 180. So when omega is 0, the magnitude is infinity and the angle is minus 180. When omega is infinity, the magnitude becomes 0 and the angle becomes minus 270. So the angles are between minus 180 and minus 270. This is minus 180. This is minus 270, which means the plot will be traveling in which quadrant? Second quadrant only. And this is the general shape we have shown. Starting at an infinite magnitude, when omega is 0, ending at origin when omega is infinity. Because you will be getting all the angles in this quadrant only. You understand? And magnitudes are between infinite and 0. This is the general shape we have drawn. Now, for the same system, I am adding one pole, 1 by s square into 1 plus s into 1 plus 2s. When omega is 0, again the magnitude becomes infinity and angle will be minus 180. When omega is infinity, the magnitude of this will become 0 and angle will become minus 360. Because you have one more term. Now if you observe the general shape of this polar plot, the plot is starting at an infinite magnitude when omega is 0 at an angle of minus 180. It is terminating at minus 360 at a magnitude of 0. You are getting angles between minus 180 and minus 360. इसका मतलब plot is traveling in second quadrant and first quadrant. That is why, if you remember, the general shape of type 2 order 4, it was the general shape that we have shown. Starting at infinite magnitude when omega is 0 and ending at origin when omega is infinity. This is the general shape we have shown for a type 2 order 4 system. So by adding a pole, the angle has become from minus 270 to the angle has changed to minus 360. I am taking the same system now again, and I am adding one 0 like this. S square 1 plus S 1 plus 2S. So if you look at the angles for this, then omega is 0. Anything by 0, again the magnitude will be infinity and phase angle will be minus 180. When omega is infinity, anything by infinity, the magnitude will become 0 and the phase angle will become minus 270. Because of the 0, there is one more term here. So minus 360 plus 90. Angle changes to minus 270. So again, if you observe the polar plot of this problem, it appears from these two values of omega, omega 0 and omega infinity. The plot is starting at infinite magnitude at an angle of minus 180 and is terminating at minus 270 with a magnitude of 0. So it appears that polar plot will be a type 2 है, type 2 के shape में रहेगा. Because it is type 2 shape only you have to draw. So it appears that again the plot will be of similar type, starting at minus 180, ending at minus 270. Yes or no? Now, when zeros are present in a transfer function, any transfer function, whether it is minimum phase, non-minimum phase, whether it is type 0, type 1, type 2 or whatever it is, when zeros are present, the effect of zeros on the shape of the polar plot is, we have to necessarily check whether the polar plot crosses this negative real axis between omega equal to 0 and omega equal to infinity points. This is one of the most important things that we need to do. What is the significance of checking this crossover point of the polar plot with negative real axis? As you proceed, you yourself will come to know. So how to check? Negative real axis means what? Minus 180 degree line. Suppose if the polar plot is crossing this negative real axis, that means omega equal to 0 and omega equal to infinity points. Accordingly, the shape of this polar plot will change and we have to draw accordingly that shape. So how to check that? What is the angle of this? The angle of this is minus 180 minus tan inverse of omega minus tan inverse of 2 omega plus tan inverse of 4 omega. Polar plot is crossing negative real axis, matlab negative real axis is minus 180 degree line. Equate this angle to minus 180. This will become how much? Tan inverse of 4 omega is equal to tan inverse of omega plus tan inverse of 2 omega, or 4 omega is equal to omega plus 2 omega by 1 minus 2 omega square. This will become 4 minus 8 omega square is equal to 3. The phase angle value equal to minus 180 means it is nothing but phase crossover frequency. Yes or no? The overall phase angle equal to minus 180 means the frequency is called as phase crossover frequency. So omega equal to omega PC equal to 1 by root 8. So as you observe, when omega value is 1 by root 8, एक तो omega 0 पे angle is minus 180. Again omega equal to 1 by root 8 पे angle कितना आ रहा? You understand? इसका मतलब omega 0 पे it starts at minus 180. Again for a finite value of omega you are getting the angle as minus 180 means the plot is cutting this axis. You understand? So when zeros are present in a transfer function, it is necessary for us to check whether the polar plot crosses the negative real axis between omega equal to 0 and omega equal to infinity points. Suppose if there is no crossover, यहाँ पे कुछ negative values आएंगे या कुछ imaginary values आएंगे, which indicates that again at no finite value of omega you are getting the angle as minus 180, so there will be no crossover. But if there is a crossover point, 100% you will get some finite value of, understand? Now, the plot is starting at an infinite magnitude at an angle of minus 180. The plot is starting at an infinite magnitude at an angle of minus 180. Suppose if I start the plot from here, the plot is cutting this axis. The plot is cutting this axis. So if I start the plot from here and if I cut this axis, I have to terminate here. Terminating here is terminating at an angle of minus 90, which is wrong. You have to terminate at an angle of minus 270, which means the plot will start at an infinite magnitude, angle minus 180. Initially, the plot will be traveling in third quadrant up to omega value equal to 1 by root 8. When omega value is 1 by root 8, the plot is having an angle of minus 180, means it will cut this axis. Then it will enter the second quadrant, and after entering second quadrant, it terminates at origin at an angle of minus 270 with a magnitude of 0. So this will be the shape of the plot, starting omega 0 and ending omega infinity, and between omega equal to 0 and infinity points, it is cutting this negative real axis again at 1 by root 8 value. You understand? Suppose by equating this angle to minus 180, if you don't get a finite value of omega like this, if you don't get, then the plot will be similar to that. It will start at minus 180 and at minus 270. There will be no crossover points. Now where it is cutting, we have to find. How to find that? You see, at phase crossover frequency, we find x value. At phase crossover frequency, we find x value. So when zeros are present, when you are checking the intersection of polar plot with negative real axis, it means you are finding the x value, and gain margin depends on that x value. So that means when zeros are present, to comment on stability, it is necessary for us to check this criteria, because crossover with minus 180 degree line is nothing but omega bc, and at omega bc, if you find the magnitude, it gives you the value of x, and the value of gain margin depends on psi, as well as value of gain margin depends on the value of x. So that is why this is very, very important. What is the magnitude of this? X is nothing but magnitude of g of j omega at omega equal to omega bc equal to 1 by root 8. So this will become under root of 1 plus 4 by root 8 whole square, 1 by root 8 whole square, root of 1 plus 1 by root 8 whole square, and root of 2 by root 8 whole square. So x value will become 10.6. 10.6 means on negative real axis it should be marked as minus 10.6. क्योंकि you have to draw a circle of radius 10.6. वो इधर 10.6 को कट करेगा, इधर minus 10.6. Minus 10.6 बोलते हैं, इसका absolute value क्या है? 10.6 ही तो. Negative side आया तो minus बोल के मारते हैं. Positive side आया तो plus. But absolute values of all these points will be positive. So therefore, we say that this plot is cutting this axis at what value? Minus 10.6. जिसका magnitude क्या है? 10.6. समझ में आया? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So the important thing to remember is कोई भी function हो, whether it is type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3, कोई भी function, whether it is minimum phase or non-minimum phase, जब zeros है, अगर zeros है, always remember it is necessary to check the intersection of polar plot with negative real. ये जरूरी है. If there is intersection, it is okay. If there is no intersection, also it is okay. But you have to check that. This is the effect of zeros on the shape of the polar plot. we have to draw a Nyquist plot for this problem, but however, first we will draw polar plot of this. Finish this is over. You see, whenever we have to draw polar plot, Nyquist plot or Bode plot, any frequency response plot, always remember convert the transfer function in time constant form. It is always better to write the transfer functions in time constant form in frequency response analysis. So the time constant conversion of this transfer function would be minus 2, 1 plus 0.5s, 1 plus s, 1 minus s. You have to take out 1 common and minus 1 common and 2 common. The minus 1 will get multiplied here. G of j omega is G of j omega will become minus 2 into 1 plus 0.5 j omega 1 minus j omega. Magnitude of G of j omega will become 2 root of 1 plus 0.5 omega whole square 1 plus omega square. This magnitude will remain same. Next we have to take the phase angle. What is the phase angle contribution of minus 2? Huh? 180. Phase angle contribution of minus 2 is 180. So it is 180 minus tan inverse imaginary by real. Minus 2 is the point lying on the negative real axis. Minus 2 is the point lying here. So if I come this way, the angle is 180. But if I come this way, the angle is minus 180. For this point, the angle is 180 degrees, which can be generalized as plus 180 or minus 180. In frequency response plots, when the gain is negative, the angle of this gain is 180 degrees, actually speaking, which can be generalized as plus 180 or minus 180. But in frequency response plots, when the gain is negative, the angle contribution must always be taken as minus 180. The angle contribution should always be taken as minus 180 degrees. The reason is, what is the definition of phase crossover frequency? It is defined as the frequency at which the phase angle of the system should tend to minus 180 degrees. Where it should tend? Minus 180. Phase margin, if you remember, we have written phase margin as 180 degrees plus 5. Yes or no? Phase margin, which is actually 180 degrees plus 5, 180 degrees plus 5, this expression is actually nothing but 5 minus of minus 180. जो हम 180 डिग्री प्लस 5 हम लिखते हैं वो एक्चुअली क्या है 5 माइनस ऑफ, इसका मतलब रेफरेंस लाइन, रेफरेंस एंगल विल ऑलवेज बी minus 180 degrees. इसका मतलब the overall phase angle of the system must and should tend towards minus 180 degrees only. because we have defined phase crossover frequency with respect to minus 180. We are defining phase margin also with respect to minus 180. That is why. Why is it so? I will show you. In the plot I will show you. That is why when the gain is negative, the angle contributed by this gain is actually 180 degrees. But it can be generalized as plus 180 or minus 180. But in frequency response methods, in frequency response plots, the negative gain angle contribution should always be taken as minus 180. So the angle of minus 2 is how much now? Minus 180. This will be tan inverse of 0.5 omega. This is tan inverse of omega. This is minus tan inverse of omega. So the overall angle will become minus 180 plus tan inverse of 0.5 omega. So the note is negative gain. Negative gain means minus k plus J0 contributes minus 180 degrees for all omega in frequency response plots. What is polar plot? We are varying omega, observing how the magnitudes and angles are changing. Starting omega 0, ending omega infinity. Put omega 0. What is the magnitude? 2. What is the angle? Minus 180. Put omega infinity. Denominator omega terms are more. You have to take out omega square common and 0.5 omega square out of the root will give you omega. Omega square gets cancelled. Denominator में omega है. Anything by infinity will become 0. Magnitude is becoming 0. Angle is becoming minus 180 plus 90 minus 90. So the polar plot of this problem is starting at an angle of minus 180. Magnitude is 2. Terminating at minus 90. Magnitude is 0. So the plot is traveling in which quadrant in this case? The third quadrant. But when zeros are present, it is necessary for us to check whether the plot will cut the negative real axis between omega equal to 0 and omega equal to infinity points or not. How to check that? This angle you have to be equal to minus 180. अगर crossover है तो you will get some finite value. अगर crossover नहीं है, then you may be getting the starting value which we already are having, or some imaginary or negative values of omega you will get. So equate this angle to minus 180. Omega value is again 0. That means starting value again we have. इसका मतलब क्या? For no finite value of omega, again you are getting the angle here as minus 180, which means the plot is not crossing the negative real axis. So the plot is starting at a magnitude of 2, angle of minus 180. Magnitudes ये लाइन पे अगर मार्क कर रहे हैं, अगर 2 है तो यहाँ पे क्या मार्क करना? minus 2. Absolute value will always be positive and it will terminate at origin at an angle of minus 90. ये क्या टाइप सिस्टम है? इसका मतलब टाइप 0 शेप only you have to draw. So the plot starts at minus 2 at an angle of minus 180 and terminates at origin. This is starting value omega 0. This is ending value omega infinity. This will become the polar plot of this problem. Are you following? Listen. पहले सुनो. I am taking same type of transfer function now. Similar type I am taking. G of s is equal to s plus 2, s plus 1, s minus 4. Almost दोनों same type है. क्या? क्या difference है? आप s minus 1 है, यहाँ पे s minus 4 है. Otherwise both are of same type. First you have to convert in time constant form. Minus 0.5 into 1 plus 0.5s, 1 plus s, 1 minus 0.25 s. You have to take out 1 common and minus 4 common and 2 common. The negative sign we are attaching it to gain. G of j omega will become minus 0.5 j omega by 1 plus j omega 1 minus 0.25 j omega. Find what is the magnitude and angle. Magnitude of minus 0.5 is 0.5, 1 plus 0.5 omega whole square, root of 1 plus omega square, 0.25 omega whole square. This is the magnitude. Find what is the phase angle. Phase angle of minus 0.5 kitna? Minus 180. This is tan inverse of 0.5 omega. This is tan inverse of omega minus tan inverse of 0.25 omega. Overall angle will become minus 180 plus tan inverse of 0.5 omega plus tan inverse of 0.25 omega minus tan inverse of omega. What is polar plot? We are varying omega, observing how the magnitudes and phase angle values are changing. Starting omega 0, ending omega infinity. So put omega value 0, anything by this magnitude will become 0.5, angle will be minus 180. Put omega infinity, because denominator omega terms are more, magnitude will become 0, angle is becoming again minus 90. Magnitude is 0, angle is again minus 90. So again it appears that the plot is starting minus 180 degrees. What is the magnitude? 0.5 बोले तो यहाँ पे क्या मार्क करना? Minus 0.5. Absolute values are all positive only. So magnitudes left hand side में negative में mark करना, right hand side में पूरा absolute values will always be positive. And again terminating at origin at an angle of minus 90. So again it appears that the plot will be of similar shape. Yes or no? But what are we supposed to do when zeros are present? We have to check. That is important. How to check that? Equate this angle to minus 180. Minus 180 plus tan inverse 0.5 omega, tan inverse of 0.25 omega, equate this angle to minus 180. So tan inverse omega is equal to tan inverse of 0.5 omega, tan inverse of 0.25 omega. This will become 0.5 omega, 0.25 omega by 1 minus 0.125 omega square. 0.125 omega square is 0.75. The phase crossover frequency is √2. So you see, again when omega value is √2, you are getting the angle as minus 180, which means there is crossover. Where it is crossing I want to find. How to find? Substitute this omega BC value in the magnitude. So this will become, what is the magnitude? 0.5 under root of 1 plus 0.5 into √2 whole square divided by 1 plus √2 whole square, 1 plus 0.25 into √2 whole square. This comes out to be 0.33. So where it is crossing? It is crossing at 0.3. Suppose I start the plot from here, 0.5. It has to cut this line. If I start from here like this, then I have to terminate here. Terminating here is terminating at minus 270. The plot should terminate at, which means up to root 2, the plot will be traveling in second quadrant. Then it will enter third. Starting omega equal to 0, starting from what value? 0.5. यहाँ पे omega value कितना? And this is 0.33. यहाँ पे omega infinity magnitude is, this becomes the polar plot of this problem. So you see, वहाँ पे crossover नहीं है, और यहाँ पे transfer function almost same है दोनों. Transfer functions are almost similar. So, क्या है important बोलो? जब zeros है सिस्टम में, सिस्टम ट्रांसफर फंक्शन में, क्या करना? चेक करना. तो कोई भी टाइप से, टाइप 0, टाइप 1, टाइप 2 जो भी है, whether it is minimum phase or non minimum phase, कुछ भी रहता है, ये जरूर ये चेक करना. Find GM and PM. To find GM and PM from polar plots. To find GM and PM from polar plots. Let us see how to comment on stability by observing what is GM and PM, how to calculate them from these polar plot shapes.
हरियाणा और महाराष्ट्र
Now say, this is the shape of the polar plot given. This is the shape of the polar plot. I am taking the critical point here. What is the significance? We will see later. We have seen in the previous examples that wherever this polar plot crosses the negative real axis, at this point the frequency is called as phase crossover frequency, and this point is giving you the value of x. So now that the plot is cutting this negative real axis before -1, this point value can be -0.5, -0.6 like that. Absolute value x is always positive. अगर ये point -0.5 है तो x क्या है? 0.5. और this distance is nothing but x, and this distance is nothing but positive value only. So now that this point is -0.5, x value will be 0.5. Gain margin is defined as 1 by 0.5. 1 by 0.5 is 2. Gain margin in decibels will become 20 log 2, and log 2 value is positive. To find phase margin, we draw a circle whose radius is 1. This circle is called as unit circle. This circle is called as unit circle. Unit circle means this will be cutting -1 and +1 on both sides. Wherever this unit circle intersects the polar plot, you mark that point. It is intersecting the polar plot here. You draw a line passing through that point. The angle of this line we should always measure in clockwise direction only, which means the angle will always be negative, and and this angle will give you the value of phi, which means phi value will always be negative. What is the total angle? Minus 180. What is the total angle? This distance between this phi and minus 180 degree line, we call it as phase margin. This distance should be measured as phi minus of minus 180 is the distance. And that is why we write phase margin as 180 degrees plus phi. Now if you observe, wherever the polar plot cuts the negative real axis, at that point the frequency is phase crossover. At phase crossover frequency you are finding gain margin. Unit circle means magnitude of the transfer function is 1. And wherever this unit circle is cutting the polar plot, there you are calculating x value, phi value, which means at gain crossover frequency you are finding phase margin. You understand? ये phi हमेशा नेगेटिव ही है. Phi value will always be negative. As this phi value is going towards minus 180, what is happening to phase margin? Decreasing. The amount of additional phase lag क्यों? क्योंकि ये phi हमेशा नेगेटिव ही है. The amount of additional phase lag that can be introduced into a system till the system reaches the verge of instability, which is called as phase margin. You understand? Now the value of this phi is coming between minus 90 and minus 180. So ये phi का value जो है, it can be minus 100, minus 120 like that. 180 minus 100, 180 minus 120, positive or negative? So this is a polar plot where both gain margin and phase margin are positive. We say this system is absolutely stable. I am taking similar type of polar plot again. Similar type of polar plot I am taking. But I am taking this point as minus 1. This distance will always give you the value of x, or this point will always give you the value of x. What is x value? 1. What is gain margin? 1 by 1 is 1. What is gain margin in decibels? 0. 20 log 1 will become 0. Next we have to calculate phase margin. We have to draw a unit circle. This is the unit circle. This unit circle will be cutting plus 1 and minus 1 points on both sides. So this is cutting plus 1 and minus 1 points on both sides. Wherever the unit circle intersects the polar plot, you draw a line passing through that point. We have drawn. This angle you should always measure in clockwise. This angle will give you the value of phi. What is phi value? Minus 180. Which implies what is phase margin? 180 minus 180 will become. Therefore, we say this is a marginally stable system. Now we are taking similar type of polar plot again. Similar type of plot we are taking again. I am taking the critical point here. This distance will give you the value of. Now that the plot is cutting this axis beyond minus 1, ये point can be minus 2, minus 3 like that. अगर suppose ये point minus 2 है, x value कितना? हाँ, अगर ये point minus 2 है तो x value कितना? 2. Gain margin is defined as 1 by 2. Gain margin in decibels will become 20 log 1 by 2. Log 1 by 2 positive है, negative है? So 1 by x क्यों लेना? If you don't take 1 by x for gain margin, you will never know whether the gain margin is positive or negative. That is why gain margin should be represented as 1 by x. Draw a circle whose radius is 1. This is the unit circle. This unit circle will be cutting plus 1 and minus 1 points on both sides. Wherever the unit circle intersects the polar plot, draw a line passing through that point. This angle we should always measure in clockwise direction. Phase margin is defined as 180 degrees plus phi. If you observe, the value of phi is coming between minus 180 and minus 270. So phi value can be minus 200, minus 220, minus 230 like that. 180 minus 220, 180 minus 240 क्या है? So this polar plot represents a unstable system. So this is the procedure for finding the GM and PM from polar plots. Now to find this GM and PM from polar plots, two things are necessary. Polar plot should either intersect the negative real axis, at the same time the unit circle also should cut the polar plot. If the unit circle does not cut polar plot, you can't find phase margin. Or if the polar plot does not cut the negative real axis, you can't find gain margin either. Yes or no? We have drawn some general shapes of the polar plots. For some open loop transfer functions we have seen. Are all the shapes cutting the negative real axis? Huh? So there may be a polar plot where the polar plot may not be cutting the negative real axis, or there may be a plot where the unit circle may not be cutting the polar. This may happen. So in such cases, to comment on the stability of a system, there is another alternate approach, and this alternate approach is based on an important concept called as concept of enclosement and encirclement. Now, what is this enclosement and encirclement? Say, we are taking some points, point X and point Y. We are choosing a contour around point X. Contour means some shape. And in clockwise direction I am choosing here, and I am calling this as figure 1. We are choosing some points again, point X and point Y. We are choosing a contour around point X in anti-clockwise direction, and we are calling this as figure 2. A point is said to be enclosed by a contour. Contour means some shape if the point is lying to the right side of the direction of the contour. A point is said to be enclosed by a contour if the point is lying to the right side of the direction of the contour. This is the direction of the contour. You should stand in the direction of the contour. This is the direction. Ye mera right side hai. I am standing in the direction of the contour. This is my right side, which means in figure 1, this is the region which is said to be enclosed. Ye enclosed region hai. In figure 2, I am standing in the direction of the contour. Ye mera right side hai. I am standing in the direction of the contour. This is my right side. Ye sara mera right side hai. So in figure 2, this is the region which is said to be enclosed. Which means in figure 1, point X is said to be enclosed. Whereas in figure 2, point Y is said to be enclosed. Encirclement means the contour should be a closed path. Which means if I start from a point, in the direction of arrow I must come back to the point. So in figure 1, point X is both enclosed as well as encircled. Encircled in what direction? Clockwise direction. Whereas in figure 2, point Y is enclosed, whereas point X is only encircled. Encircled in what direction? Anti-clockwise direction. This is the difference. This difference is understood. You see, these are also some contours, some shapes. Are these contours closed paths? How do you know? Because you are starting from infinity. You have to come back to infinity if it is a closed path. Are you coming back to infinity? You are terminating somewhere here. So these contours are not closed paths. Since these contours are not closed paths, encirclement will not work here. then what should work? Enclosement. I am standing in the direction of the contour. See, this is the direction of the contour. This is my right side. Is this critical point -1 enclosed? अगर ये critical point enclosed नहीं है, system is stable. I am standing in the direction of the contour here. This is my direction. This is the direction. This is my right side. Is this critical point enclosed? If the critical point is enclosed, system is, and if the plot passes through the critical point, then we say it is marginally stable. So you can comment on the stability of a system from a polar plot by simply observing the enclosement of -1. Understood? Suppose this is the point given, this is the polar plot given, this is the direction, and -1 is given here. Now a question is asked whether this critical point -1 is enclosed or not. The question is asked whether this critical point -1 enclosed है या नहीं.
क्रिटिकल है.
देखो ये सब स्पेस है. स्पेस कितना स्पेस एनक्लोज्ड है ये फिगर से बताना आसान है या ये फिगर से बताना आसान है? अब कितना स्पेस एनक्लोज्ड है, फर्स्ट फिगर इज बेटर और ये सेकंड फिगर इज बेटर? क्यों सेकंड फिगर इज बेटर? क्योंकि यू हैव लिमिटेड द स्पेस. यहाँ पे ये फर्स्ट फिगर में क्या है? यू आर एनक्लोजिंग. कितना स्पेस एनक्लोज्ड है, हाउ टू डिटरमाइन? यस और नो? दिस इज कॉल्ड एज Nyquist plot. Converting these open-ended plots into closed paths. In the process of converting these polar plots into closed paths, the number of closed paths that we can get can be more than one. Suppose I have got this kind of shape. You see how many closed paths are there? This is one closed path, and this is another closed path. With respect to this closed path, this is enclosed. But with respect to this closed path, it is not enclosed. Enclosement cannot be like it. Enclosement means this is the main contour. With respect to the main contour, it should be enclosed or not. Finished. Because in an Nyquist plot, number of closed paths can be more than one. Enclosement will not work. Then what will work? That is why we observe encirclements in Nyquist plot, enclosement in polar plot. Point is said to be enclosed. A point is said to be enclosed by a contour CONTOUR. A point is said to be enclosed by a contour if it lies to the right side of the direction of the contour. If it lies to the right side of the direction of the contour. Next sentence, next point. A point is said to be encircled point is said to be encircled if the contour is a closed path. If the contour is a closed path. figure 2, point Y is said to be enclosed. In figure 2, point Y is said to be enclosed, whereas point X is said to be only encircled. Is said to be only encircled in anti-clockwise direction. In anti-clockwise direction. Next, in polar plots, if the critical point -1 plus J0, in polar plots, if the critical point -1 plus J0 is not enclosed, then the system is said to be stable. You understand? So the next topic is theory of Nyquist plots. This theory of Nyquist plots we will do after a short break of 15 minutes.
सारे नौ में ले मारेगा चीज then the system is set to be stable.